Hello everyone, thanks for checking out another video. Today I'm going to be showing you how I made my new farmhouse dining room table. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you're not already. Let's get into the build. I started off the project by making the base of the table. The base was constructed with some 4x4s and some 2x4s. I cut down the 4x4s to length using the miter saw. I then marked off where I want to put the cross pieces and used a circular saw to notch out the pieces and used a chisel to clean up the cuts. I did the same process for the 2x4s that are going to be connecting the two leg pieces. Once all of the leg pieces were cut, I used a larger drill bit to countersink the holes and attach legs using wood glue and screws. I am painting the base, so I'm just going to fill the screw holes with wood filler later. I finished building the base by attaching the 2x4s to the legs using pocket screws. With the base of the table finished, it's time for the tabletop. I decided to use pine for the top because I really like the look of the grain and the way the knots gave it character. However, it's really soft wood and can be susceptible to scratches and dents easily. This is definitely something to consider when choosing the material for your table. For this project, I cannot use the joiner sled that I made in a previous video because the pieces were much too long. I decided to use a method I learned in a video by 731 Woodworks. The link to the video is in the description below. I took the piece of wood and taped it to a really long straight edge, in this case a giant level. I would run the piece through the table saw, remove the straight edge, flip the piece and run it through the other side. This is by no means a perfect joint, but it was pretty close and came out great for the look I was going for with the table. I repeated this process for all the pieces for the tabletop and cut them a little longer than needed at the miter saw. Putting the tabletop together, I made sure the grain patterns were alternating. This will help the table from bowing. I used pocket hole screws to assemble the top. I didn't have giant clamps on hand, so I used smaller ones, and glued and clamped the pieces together one board at a time. It was by no means the best method of doing it, but it worked pretty well for me. Once the 5 pieces for the tabletop were attached, I used a straight edge and a circular saw to square up the ends. This will be important for the next step of attaching the breadboards. I took some more pine that I had, marked off the length of each end, finding the grain and knot pattern that I really liked, and used the jointer sled to square up the edges. I lost the footage of how I attached the breadboard or end pieces to the table, so I created a SketchUp model to show what I did. I started off by drilling a hole in each of the center boards of the table. I then marked off the center board because this was the only hole that was going to be glued in place. I then made the other pieces a little wider and attached the breadboard to the table with dowels. It is important that the center and the other holes are a little wider. If you don't do this, the table could end up cracking due to expansion and contraction of the wood. Now that the top and the base of the table is done, it's time for sanding and paint. I used the mahogany stain that I used for the rustic lights and desks I made in previous videos. I really love the way it looks, and it's going to contrast really well against the white paint I am using for the base. Once both pieces were dried, I brought them inside and attached the tabletop to the base using pocket screws. I really love the way the table came out. It looks really great in the dining room and it was super fun to make. Let me know what you think of the project in the comments below. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe if you're not already. Thanks for watching.